Leute, Harvey am Start. So as you guys know, I'm really stoked about the announcement of Regulation H, formerly known as Regulation A++. As you guys can see, I absolutely love this format. I got to top 10 again today. I mean, I dropped out again to 11, but doesn't really matter. And yeah, I absolutely love this format, guys. However, I had a ton of videos recorded that was supposed to be Regulation A++, but they are now kind of outdated because now it's called Regulation H. However, one video I really want to post, and that is the video where I interviewed TKL, who won a couple of tours, well, one tour in Reg A++, and then a tour in later on in Regulation H as well. He also got second in a Regulation A++ tour. And we are going to talk about Dondozo Tatsugiri in Regulation A++, or, well, Regulation H. Take a shot every time I say this. Just kidding, you'll die. So, yeah, hope you guys are excited for the interview. Turns out we were actually spitting. Spoilers! So, hope you guys enjoy. Moin Leute, Harald wieder am Start.
Like and subscribe.
Today, we got a one and only TKL. How you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm doing pretty decent. It's been a fun few weeks.
Hell yeah. So, wanna tell us,
Yeah.
who are you? Who are you, man?
I'm Tyler. My name's Tyler. You can just call me Tyler.
Hell yeah.
But I've been playing VGC for probably like not a crazy amount of time. It's almost been like probably like a year. It's been over a year now.
Oh, really?
But I picked up like playing tours and like RegD, but like I don't know. I've really taken to it. I think I've gotten a lot better at the game.
Oh, for sure.
And yeah, I've been enjoying the format just because it's, for me, like Reg A++ is just like a nice little break from like Regulation F, like
Oh, yeah.
or Regulation G, whatever. Yeah, Regulation G, not even Regulation F. That's how behind I am. But like I don't know, it's like I get so burnt out playing like a bunch of ladder for like Regulation G, and then it's just like, oh, I like see the tour pop up, and it's that's how I got into my first tour. Like the first tour I played, it was just I was kind of burnt out. I saw it on the thing, and I was just like, ah, that sounds fun. Like I want to do something I normally wouldn't do. So
Hell yeah. For sure, man.
but yeah.
So, you guys all know, you won your first tour. So, you wanna go over the team for a second?
Yeah, totally. So, hang on, let me pull up my team on my page so I can talk about it.
Oh, yeah.
So my team, actually, funny enough, I'll be honest, like two of these Pokemon I almost never brought, but
Oh, damn.
so my team was pretty much very hyper offensive stuff with Blood Moon or Saluna, and so I had never played a Reg A++ tour before this, and it was funny because I was sitting there and I just thought, like, what would be the most broken thing? And I was sitting there and I'm like, since it's such a lower power level, I looked at it and I just thought, like, nothing out damages Ursaluna Blood Moon. Like, I don't see anything in the format that can output as much damage as Ursaluna Blood Moon, with the exception of like maybe Goldango, which I also have on my team.
Oh, yeah.
So my idea was I just wanted like super hyper offensive stuff with priority Tailwind and Talonflame, and so Talonflame was like my Tailwind setter, which honestly, like, it wasn't the best, but it wasn't the worst. Like, it was, I mean, it got its kills when it needed to, but I think honestly the best part about Talonflame is it was able to run a Feint, which was like a cool move on it.
Oh, yeah.
And basically what Feint does is it like stops other teams from like stalling your Tailwind, basically. So like you can put up Tailwind and like the other teams will usually try to like stall it and then kill the Talonflame so you can't set Tailwind again, but like with Feint you're able to break their protect and you're able to just like make it so they can't stall the Tailwind, and Ursaluna just gets guaranteed, damage off. It's really great, especially if there's like targets that are pinned and you just want to like Feint into them and like Terranormal Blood Moon them. Like they can't defensively play around Feint, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, so like that coupled with Blood Moon. So the other thing about Blood Moon is like in current Regulation G, usually Tailwind Blood Moon is gonna run like a Timid Blood Moon, like max speed Timid, because you have to outspeed speed Shadow Rider. But the beauty of this format is there is no Shadow Rider, so I get to run Modest, which means it just becomes an absolute nuke of a move. Like it just everything Blood Moon does is just that much more damage.
Oh yeah.
And it felt broken. It felt broken. I might just run it again another day just for
Yeah.
funsies.
Dude,
But
it's
yeah,
so good.
that, and then the next one up was Goldango. Goldango was literally just because I wanted more crazy damage on the team. Like Goldango just does so much damage. I think
I
I
know.
was like looking at the use stats, and like Goldango is one of the most like used Pokemon, and I can see why. Some people like run the Nasty Plot set. I just like Choice Pets because it's just like so much immediate damage. And especially since I played like in this tournament, I played Tyranitar I think like twice, and so like having Terra Steel make it rain into like Tyranitar was just like super 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 good. Like I was doing like Terra Steel make it rain, and I was doing over like I think I was doing over like 50% to even like Pokemon like what's it called Edge to Drill that was just like resist it. It does so much.
It's insane.
And then the last three on the team, so Rillaboom was really useful. Rillaboom is just a great like balance for just having a fake out Pokemon, having grassy terrain, having just good grass damage was really really good. Just a lot of things in general. A lot of like ground types and such that it just be a little difficult.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it was. I mean, Rillaboom was a consistent. I'll be honest; those first four that I just talked about were predominantly the ones coming to matches. Like, I'd say, like out of all my sets, like they came to pretty much all of them. I think like the last two Bruxish and Hisuian Arcanine maybe came to truly like 2 or 3 games throughout the entire tournament.
Dude, that's crazy.
Not to say they didn't do well. Hisuian Arcanine truly was like I didn't know what to put in the slot, and I didn't know what to put in the slot, and the main reason I put it there was I didn't have a great answer to Lilycole, to like Lilden Torkoal stuff. I just didn't have a great answer because it was gonna outspeed Blood Moon in Goldango, I think, in Tailwind.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a great answer to either like Lilycole, and I saw like a few people ran it to the tournament prior, so I was like I kind of wanted an answer into it.
Yeah.
And so Terra Water Hisuian Arcanine was my answer into it because it was like I don't know, for the most part pretty good.
Interesting, yeah, for sure.
And then yeah, lastly was Bruxish, just because I didn't want priority spam to be a thing, like not even priority spam, but like fake out like Bruxish, funny enough, I didn't play this at all really, but like Instant Rillaboom, like Instant Rillaboom's just like really really good in normal VGC. And so I figured a lot of people might run Instant Rillaboom in RegH++. And I'd usually run into one of the two, like I'd run into an Instant or I'd run into a Rillaboom, but I never really found the two of them together. So Bruxish never came that much, but I do remember specifically Bruxish like completely won me like the one match I brought it to.
Nice.
Because it got like a defense drop with liquidation and it was so good. I was playing against a Como that like Terra Fire or Terra Steeled or something, and I already had a body press up, or I mean an Iron defense up, and I hit it with the liquidation and I got the defense drop and it pretty much just won me the game. So it carried me in that regard. But yeah, for the most part, that's the team. It's very hyper offensive. Like to be honest, 90% of the time I was just leading Talonflame Blood Moon, and I was just clicking Tailwind, and then like turn 1 just launching like a Terra Normal like Blood Moon into a Pokemon, or Terra Normal Hyper Voice, or something of that sort. But the best part about the team is you have Tailwind for like to outspeed stuff, but if you're playing against like slow teams, like I'm gonna just get into like my tournament run. If you're playing into slow teams like my round 1. I was playing into a team that had like Farigiraf and like Sinistcha, Snorlax, Ursaluna, Toedscruel, Rillaboom. I was playing into a team that had just a really slow like mode. Like it was predominantly set around Trick Room.
Yeah.
I didn't even bring Talonflame. Just like Ursaluna Blood Moon outspeeds pretty much everything except for the Rillaboom and except for like the Toedscruel and their team outside of Trick Room. So I just like led Goldango and like Ursaluna, and that's just so much damage that they won't have an answer to. Like
that's crazy.
I think I just like Terra Normal Hyper Voice and Make It Rain, and like both of the Pokemon died turn 1, and it was just like there's no coming back from it. Like once you're down 2 Pokemon, you can't really do much.
What are you gonna do?
But yeah, getting my tournament run. So that was my game 1. My round 1. My round 2 was Como team. This is the game that Fruxus shut the defense drop on the Como, and I
nice.
won because of it. So that was clutch. That was an insanely close match too. Like
Oh yeah, I
my
can
opponent was
imagine.
really good, and that was round 2. I like barely won that. It was like a 1v1 in the end, and I barely won it. But so I won that one. And then I lost to Sir Sweeps a lot, which
Oh
I'm gonna be
yeah.
honest.
Okay.
I just didn't. It was like it's best of one, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know like what to. I didn't know what to like expect them to lead. I just really didn't think they were gonna bring Como at all.
Yeah, for sure.
I didn't think they were gonna bring Como because I had Guldango and I had Ursulina Bloodmoon, which are just both special attackers. So I figured like, okay, like Iron Defense Body Press isn't gonna be great in my physical attackers. But I mean into my special attackers, and I ended up just leading wrong. Like I can't even remember what I led, but all I just remember is the takeaway from the match is like I led wrongly, and they heavily disrespected the lead of Blood Moon and Talonflame.
Yeah.
And there wasn't much they could, like after I led what I led, there wasn't much I could do. I think I led like Guldango or something, and I just didn't have an answer because they Terrafired their Como and killed it, which was also like really cool tech. They had like Terrafire Flamethrower on Como, which is way better than Terra Steel Ironhead because it hits Guldango, and Guldango is like probably the second best Pokemon in this format in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. That's like a really old tech. It's actually really good.
Yeah. Like, yeah, it was really useful, and I could see why you did it. I mean, like honestly, if I were to run Como, I'd probably do the same thing. Like, it made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And you still get the fairy resistance. Like,
exactly.
It was really good. So that won in that game, which was cool. And then I played Antonia. I straight up don't actually even remember this game. If I'm being buck with you.
I mean, looks pretty weak to Blood Moon. Not gonna lie.
I'm sure I just Blood Mooned a bunch of stuff and they died. Yeah. And then I played Zac. Okay, this was funny. So I played Zac back to back. Like, I played Zac in round 5.
Top Cut. Yeah, I remember seeing this game.
I played it in round 5, and then immediately after I pulled him in Top Cut. So I played 4. Spoiler alert, I went to game 3 with him in Top Cut. So I played 4 straight matches against Zac. It's so funny. And then I also played him the next tournament and beat him. I feel bad. I've beat this dude like 3 times in a row now.
Yeah.
But
he's cool.
he just was running Sand Team, which honestly, like, I wasn't too afraid of. I was a little afraid of the Amogus if I couldn't kill it, but I had Guldango. I felt confident to it. That's the other reason why Guldango is so good.
Dude,
it's just like it just doesn't care about Amogus. Yeah, like you don't get spored. But so I don't exactly remember how all the matches played out, but I remember they were all really close. Is the thing I won, but like, oh my god, they were all like usually within 1 turn. Like I won. I don't completely remember how I won my Swiss game, but I remember Top Cut very clearly. And it was mostly just me putting off a lot of pressure with Guldango early, and he adjusted in game 2. And used a Salamence, I remember, to actually get up Tailwind himself.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And once he got Tailwind up, it was a lot harder for me to win the game. But I believe in game 3 I denied the Tailwind.
I think
and basically allowed me to win. I remember winning game 3 in that game just purely based off the fact that I had 1 more turn of Tailwind. And my Blood Moon was faster than his Guldango, and that was truly it. Like it was like a 1v1 between Guldango and Blood Moon, and it was 1 turn of Tailwind was all it took, and I was able to just overpower and kill it.
Yeah.
But
I think I remember watching the stream. It was like you had like Talonflame Blood Moon, I think, and then he had Salamence, and I was like, no, he's just gonna tear down my Blood Moon kill with Salamence. It's over.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, that's kind of how it went.
Yeah, that's the thing about non-prankster Tailwind setters, unfortunately. Like, they just fucking die. It's so sad.
Yeah. And then so I specifically remember my second game. So then I won that in Top Cut, and then I played Sweeps a lot again.
Oh yeah.
And I remember this game very specifically because it was very funny. Because I remember the first game, which I lost to him, so he was only the 1 loss in Swiss. And I remember thinking he incredibly disrespected because he led Electabuzz and Como.
Oh really?
And I was just like, that is. Yeah, he led that
What?
in my first Swiss game, and that's why I was like, it was such a disrespectful lead to Tailwind Blood Moon.
Exactly.
And so I figured, I'm like, okay, if it worked for him, that he's probably just gonna do it again. So I led
Yeah.
Tailwind Blood Moon, and I mean, I won the game in I think like 2 turns. Like I literally
Yeah.
won the game in like turn 1, Terra Normal Blood, or like Hyper Voice Tailwind,
Mm.
and then he like Iron Defensed, and then
Oh.
he took more than half. So I just did it again and again
Yeah.
and won the game. Game 1, and
Mhm.
he was just like, "Oh my god!" Like I didn't realize it was gonna do that much damage, and I was like, "Yeah, that's why I was like, I was very surprised he led the way he did
Oh yeah,
in
for
Swiss."
sure.
And so
Dude, he
I
was
expected him
traumatized.
to adjust. Yeah, and so I expected him to adjust in game 2 and not
Yeah.
lead the same thing.
Okay.
So I led what I initially led in the first game
Mhm.
in Swiss, and I think Talonflame Goldango.
Mhm.
And so he led the same thing, and I was like, oh god, okay.
Dude, genius.
And so turn 1, I shadow balled because I didn't
Uh-huh.
want him to Terra Fire, and like do something, and just basically I would just resist Make Rain if you Terra Fired, and then
Yeah,
Electric
yeah.
would resist it. But the thing I didn't realize, I didn't look at this at all. But
Yeah.
I just wasn't looking at team sheet. His Electabuzz was Terra Normal.
Yeah, no.
So turn 1 he just double protected, and then turn 2 he like Terra Normaled and follow Mead,
Oh my
and I
god.
just didn't read that he had Terra Normal. So
Yeah.
like I wasted my whole like first 2 turns, which was like kind of brutal.
That is
But
unforgiving.
I still won the game because I swapped in Blood Moon, and I was able to get a Hyper Voice off,
Oh.
and
Yeah.
I was able to get a Hyper Voice off, and then he Iron Defensed and Body Pressed the
Blood Moon.
Ursaluna, and it died.
Yeah.
But luckily, since he had burnt his Terra
Electabuzz.
on what's it called, on Electabuzz, yeah, I was able to bring Goldango back out, and then Terra Steel, Make It Rain, and kill the rest of his team. He also forgot that I had Feint on my
Yeah.
Talonflame, so he protected his Como in front of my Talonflame as I clicked Feint, and then Terra
Ooh.
Steel, Make It Rain. That kind of just won me the game,
Yeah,
which
dude.
is brutal.
Dude, Feint on Talonflame
And
is so good.
yeah, it truly was a really good thing. I ran it last week as well, which I'll get into
Oh yeah.
again, which I got second place with. And then
Hell
lastly,
yeah.
my finals. The team I played in finals is a crazy team.
Dude, fucking
I
Hisuian
don't even.
Samurott.
No, it wasn't Hisuian Samurott. It was like
Oh shit.
Mouse Ape, and then it was like
Oh,
Rabombi,
oh
Meowscarada,
yeah.
Milotic, and Colossal.
Shit, my bad. I was
Yeah, it
looking at
was.
the wrong team sheet. I remember this
Yeah,
team. Oh yeah, I watched it on stream as well, dude. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, hell yeah, bro.
it's a weird team, but I mean it works. Like he did really well with it again last
Yeah,
week with like I think he literally just changed Colossal for like
yeah.
Blood Moon, which is smart choice.
Dude.
But
Yes.
and so I mean I just remember this game was basically one game. Like game 1 I won predominantly off of just Blood Moon doing Blood Moon things. Like I just tailwinded, and then I just started. I think turn 1 I literally Terra Normal Blood Mooned the Milotic and tailwinded.
Oh yeah.
It like Hydro pumped my Talonflame, and then turn 2 I just got to bring in my Goldango and start killing things. So, like, they
Yeah,
literally,
that was
and then
rough.
also, like, game 1, they didn't bring their Rabombi, so they didn't have, like, their own Tailwind.
Oh yeah.
Which meant that they just never could outspeed me, and I just killed everything.
Rabombi is so good
And
on a
then in
team like
game
this.
2, it was a lot closer because they brought their Rabombi and got Tailwind off.
Oh yeah.
But it came down to sleep turns in the end, and I just happened to get, like, it was scary. I pulled a 3-turn sleep, and then I was, like, 2 turns into a sleep cycle, and then I finally woke up on like the 3rd, and I was like, oh my god, thank god, and I won it off of that. But
yeah.
That's how I won that one.
Yeah, good job.
Which was a really cool team, and I think it truly was a great showcase of how Blood Moon is just an incredibly broken Pokemon.
Dude.
Like,
your team is so good. Like, remember I was using
my philosophy.
Yeah, you go
ahead.
first. Okay.
Okay.
Dude, I was using your team against like Sir Sips a lot because he was like bro, I need an answer to Blood Moon. And she was like, dude, we spent fucking hours looking at like the team build and everything. And I was like, bro, you cannot defend against Blood Moon. Look at the special attack, bro.
No,
Blood Moon,
you
like
can't.
ghost immunity. Like
It's
you just have to beat it offensively. And you did such a good job, I think, of not being able to play
yeah,
around like defensively at all. I mean, you do have a feint on Talonflame, which is just so smart. I mean, there's literally
it's
no
so good.
counterplay to Blood Moon, like the move, right?
Yeah,
And when like Specs Golden Go already just beats entire teams on its
it
own,
does so
right?
much.
And
Yeah,
then you
pretty
also have
much.
like
It's
Fake
a,
Out and everything. Oof. Like and
yeah,
like with
it was
Bruxish as
really
well.
good core.
Dude, I remember there was
Like
one game.
honestly, if I go ahead.
There was one game I had against him. I was literally just bringing Bruxish and it just like being able to not like get sabotaged by
Fake
opposing
out.
Fake Out,
Yeah.
right? It's just so good. And like the water typing as well, like Incineroar like could be good, for example, right? If you go for a good tower type.
Yeah, exactly.
But when Bruxish
But you
just
have
comes in and
yeah.
just brr,
Yeah,
it's so good.
exactly. Like that was the other thing is I wanted to go water type for the team, and I was like,
Mm.
I mean, it's gonna do damage. Like especially if you're on Focus Sash and you run like
Oh
max
yeah,
adamant, like it'll be doing good damage. Um,
exactly.
but yeah, and like when I build usually in RegH plus plus, like my theory is like just
Mm.
try to build around the Pokemon with just the craziest stats. Like
Hell yeah.
and Blood Moon just has a crazy special attack stat. And then also the fact that ground and normal, especially when like there's no ghost immunity, like you'll hit everything for at least neutral, which is
Yeah,
just so good.
it's
It's
so good.
so good.
Yeah, a good
So yeah,
feeling.
that was that.
Hell yeah, man.
That was that.
Wise
And
words.
then yeah, which that was a very fun tour. That was my like intro to it. The next week I played an Archelodon team. I don't really feel like talking about the team. I got top 8 with it. I went undefeated in Swiss, but
Oh
like
yeah.
it was a cool team. I just think I didn't have the correct Pokemon on the team. But
Mm.
this last week was a funny week, an interesting week.
Oh really?
There was also shout out. I think it was the biggest RegH plus plus tour yet.
I think
I could
so.
be wrong.
I'm not sure. I think it is a tie with the last one. We got 27
It had
people, I think.
27. Yeah, did the last one have 27? It was just a pretty big tour.
Yeah,
Which
like
I
it
found
was a really
interesting.
big tour.
People are joining, like more and more people are joining, which I think is like really
Dude,
cool.
it's so good.
But and so this last week I got second,
Hell yeah, man.
which is cool. Would have loved to win, but my opponent,
Dude,
my
he's
finals
so
opponent
fucking
won it
cracked.
all. He's good, man. I mean, he went 8-0, so like I can't even be mad. Like,
Yeah, dude.
and yeah, it was a tough matchup as well. I feel like for my team. But hang on, I need to find my team sheet.
Yeah.
But to break down the team, I thought this week Dozo Giri would be really good.
Mm-hmm.
I just felt like if you looked at the previous tours, nobody had been bringing Dozo Giri for like the
Yeah.
last 3 tours.
Yeah.
Like the one that I won, nobody brought Dozo Giri at all. Last week I think there was at least one Dozo, but the Dozo didn't even have a Giri on the
Yeah.
team. So like no one was bringing Dozo Giri. But the thing was is like there was still a decent amount of Dozo Giri counterplay. Like there was a few Haze Murkrows that would lie around. Like there was a couple Palafin that had Haze, and there was an Amoonguss. There was a couple of Amoonguss that ran Clear Smog.
Oh yeah.
But besides that, like there truly wasn't much Dozo counterplay. Like people kept it, but like I also figured that people might start dropping it off just because there had been literally 0 Dondozo play.
Yeah, that's what I did for
So
sure.
this week, I was like, okay, I really want to use Dozo Giri, and so I figured I wanted Dozo Giri, and I wanted Glamora was the big thing. Is I wanted Glamora with the with Mortal Spin and Toxic Spikes type stuff.
Oh yeah.
Just because that stuff is so powerful. I mean, it was really good in normal Regulation A. It was really good in like, I mean, all the way through Regulation like all the way through like Regulation F. It was like really good.
For sure. Now
I mean,
Meteor
it was still like, yeah, it was still something you had to like respect. And so, just Glamora being able to set up like toxic spikes and poison was just so good with Dondozo, being like so bulky and stuff. And so I wanted those three. I knew for sure. And then for the last three, I wasn't 100% sure. I figured I went Talonflame for Tailwind. I ran the same setup, except for I changed Covercloak to Sharp Beak, which I don't think it ever went into play. I literally never clicked Brave Bird ever. I think the entire tournament.
Dude, that's
I
crazy.
didn't bring Talonflame much. I'll be real.
Yeah.
I didn't bring Talonflame much because usually you leave Dozo Giri in the back, which means that you're bringing Talonflame and then either one of Gholdengo, Glamora, Serena.
Yeah.
Which it's almost always going to be Glamora. You almost always want to bring Glamora.
Yeah, for sure.
And so most games, I was leading Glamora, Gholdengo, and basically threatening really big damage from either of them from either Meteor Beam or Make It Rain. So yeah, I mean it was. Talonflame probably could have been replaced for something better, but nonetheless, so I wanted those three at the top, but Talonflame was there for Tailwind stuff. Gholdengo was just, I really wanted something to do a lot of damage, and it did so well for me last time I played, my first run, that I figured I'd put it there again. Just the other thing for Dozo is Dozo's really great at just cleaning up kills. Is you're able to go for something like Tailwind, like Terra Steel, Make It Rain, right? Put everything super, super low, and then go into Dozo Giri, and then clean up a few kills with Earthquake or Wave Crash, and then Dozo dies, and then you can bring your Gholdengo back out, and then
shit.
Make It Rain again, and and finish the game up.
Oh, dude.
Because
that's so smart.
Yeah, it's just really good. It's kind of, I don't know, it was really great. Just Gholdengo was just really good at making stuff get really, really low on HP.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Serena was just for no fake out, which didn't really come into play much. I don't know if I brought Serena to a single game, if I'm being honest. I mostly wanted it there if there were any trick room cores with fake out on it.
Fake out trick room stuff.
Yeah, exactly. I kind of wanted it there so that way I could look like Helping Hand, Terra Steel, Make It Rain turn 1 or something.
Wait,
but I never really played any of that.
You can't Helping Hand Golden Robo.
Oh shoot, you're right. I completely forgot about that. See, there's a reason I never did that.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
You're totally right. I would have totally done that one game.
Dude, that's hilarious. Dude, so many people forget about this. It's so funny.
I guess I could have Talonflame, Terra Flying, Brave Bird, Helping Hand, something. But yeah.
I mean, whatever. It doesn't really matter, right?
Dozo was pretty good. I'll say that much. So the thing is I'll get into my run here real quickly.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll try to go quickly through this. I pulled one team that had a direct counter to Dozo, and it was in the finals, which was Polaris Agamonius.
Dude, you got so lucky. What?
Between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 rounds, I never ran into Polaris Agamonius or Hayes Palafin or Hayes Murkrow, which was just being lucky, to be honest.
That's so insane. What the fuck?
And
there were 8 Murkrows and 5 Amoonguses, I think.
Yeah, and that was the other thing I was to say, which is hilarious, is this week, not only was Murkrow the 4th most used Pokemon, I think 6 of these had Haze on them.
Yeah.
Which was really unfortunate, because I was running Dozo Giri.
Yeah.
But luckily, after round 1, funny enough, I think pretty much half the people with Haze Murkrow lost, and then by round 3, there was only 1 Haze Murkrow around, so I wasn't really pulling any Haze Murkrows just because I was at a record where nobody had it.
Oh, interesting. I didn't think about this.
So, yeah, basically a bunch of the Haze Murkrows lost round 1, and spoiler alert, I had a round 1 bye, so I didn't have to play round 1.
That's
and I just got
hilarious.
a win, which was kind of funny, and let me at least scout out the tournament yet. Round 2, I played against Antonio, which is funny because I realized I played him the previous tournament. I felt bad. He had literally zero answer into not only Dondozo, but he had zero answer into like Goldango, like besides Hisui and Arcanine.
Yeah, but like it doesn't even
which-
resist Make It Rain, so it's like
Yeah, and so what I did is I let off Glamora, and Goldango, and he couldn't fake out the Goldango because it was a ghost type.
Yeah.
And I forgot to mention he let off Rillaboom and Hatterene. And their Hatterene is Terra Fairy, so it can't resist the Make It Rain.
Yeah.
And so he let off so you let off Rillaboom and Hatterene, and I let off Goldango Glamora. And there was nothing stopping me from just clicking Make It Rain and then Meteor Beam into his Rillaboom. And he didn't click Fake Out into the Glamora. I think assumingly because he didn't want to set up Toxic Spikes, which makes sense.
That does make sense.
I got to click Make It Rain and then Meteor Beam, and he literally just died. Like, both his Pokemon died. Just Hatterene didn't protect and just died to Make It Rain, and then Meteor Beam did like 60% to Rillaboom, and then the Make It Rain finished it off. And then his last 10 were Arcanine and Amoonguss.
Goodbye.
And basically from there, I basically just went into he choice band locked into Flare Blitz trying to get my Goldango. And so I just went into Dozo Giri, killed the Hisui and Arcanine, and then Terra Grass, and the Amoonguss just can't win the game.
Yeah.
So that was a brutal matchup for him, honestly.
Yeah, I don't see anything he can do, honestly.
Yeah,
I don't even think like Farigiraf can set up Trick Room, right? Because like that's like his only shot.
No.
But Amoonguss can't even score like anything, right? That's unfortunate.
No, I thought he probably should have led Farigiraf, to be honest, and like fake out the out. Like I was thinking you'd have to lead like Rillaboom, Farigiraf, and like fake out into the Glamora, and then like hope he lives the Make It Rain, and then from there like you turn into like a Amoonguss or something, and then like play like a Blood Moon game.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Blood Moon is not doing enough damage.
Yeah, so that was my round 2. And then round 3. I played. This person I remember was just not excited to play Dozo Giri. Like I remember they just in chat, they were just like, "I'm not gonna have fun." But this was an incredibly close game.
Oh, interesting.
It was closer than it should have been. Yeah, it was closer than it should have been, only due to the fact that they got a burn onto my Dondozo with a Flare Blitz, which was just kind of annoying.
I can see that, yeah.
But yeah, so he didn't bring, if I remember right, he brought Goldango, Rillaboom, Hisui and Arcanine, and Blood Moon. So he left the Murkrow and Palafin behind, which I find interesting.
I mean, he didn't
I feel like
Haze.
he'd want to like do something around like Blood Moon, like and Murkrow. But
yeah,
what ended up happening was, I think I led the same thing where it was like Glamora, Goldango, or no, what it was it was Glamora, Goldango, and I believe that was it. Yeah. And what I did is I swapped in my Dozo turn 1, and that's when it ate the Flare Blitz. And ended up what's it called?
Getting burnt.
Yeah, and actually no, they did bring Murkrow. I think they left the Rillaboom behind.
Interesting.
But yeah, I ended up that's what it was. They let Murkrow, Arcanine, Flare Blitz the Goldango, and Tailwinded, and I swapped my Goldango into Dondozo. It got burned, which really sucked, and then I Meteor Beamed the Murkrow because I basically was fine letting it Tailwind once, but I didn't want it to get Tailwind and then stay alive.
Oh yeah.
And then so after that, I think I protected and then Mortal Spin so I could get Toxic up on the field, because I think at that point it was Hisui and Arcanine, Rillaboom. And then from there I went hard Dozo Giri and then Terra Grass. so that way the Hisuian Arcanine would have to Flare Blitz, and it would take so much recoil in between recoil, me damaging it with Order Up and the Poison Chip. It pretty much died, and then Rillaboom couldn't kill me, and basically what it was I eventually wound up. Blood Moon was the last one alive, and I wave crashed Blood Moon, and then between that and then Rillaboom, my Dondozo went down, and it was pretty much just up to Tatsugiri and Glamora to kill the Rillaboom, which it did. Which was kind of close though, because my Glamora doesn't have. It literally just carries Earth Power, Mortal Spin, Meteor Beam, and I had just used my Power Herb, so it's kind of up to Eerie to like actually end up killing it, but it was so low on HP anyways that it eventually just died.
Crazy. Yeah.
But yeah, that game was really close, but it was just mostly just I got a burn.
Interesting.
And then
yeah.
so let's see what's next.
Oh, something smart.
And then I played the dude that I beat in finals in my first tournament, and I lost.
Dude, he got his revenge.
I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be honest. It was mostly because they tailwinded, and then just I didn't have enough offensive pressure off my tailwind to threaten their Milotic. And I wound up having to go into Dozo Giri earlier than I wanted to.
Yeah.
And yeah, the Blood Moon just basically obliterated my Dondozo.
That's crazy.
That and the Meowscarada. But yeah, they played really well. They got a crit, but it just didn't matter. The more I thought about it, the crit just didn't matter at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then that was my round 4, and then my last round, I played a team that was very, very similar to the team that I beat in round 3.
Yeah.
And I ended up playing them again in Top Cut. So their team, let me see, I gotta look at their team again. But their team was scary slightly. Once again, it has 0 Dondozo hard counters.
Yeah.
But when I played them in Swiss, which is like best of 1, what I was really worried about was Whimsicott. Whimsicott is really scary just because it has Encore.
Yeah.
And Dondozo doesn't like Encore.
No.
Dondozo really doesn't like Encore. Especially if you want to click Protect, usually, because it really deters you from clicking Protect on Dondozo.
I mean, if you
which
do,
you usually
just
want to
lose.
since you're leftovers.
Yeah.
And so what I did was, in Swiss, he led like Farigiraf and Rillaboom, I think it was.
Interesting, yeah.
Rillaboom, and I don't exactly remember. Oh yeah. He led Farigiraf, Rillaboom, and I forgot that his Rillaboom has high horsepower. So yeah, I horsepowered my Goldingo, and I missed a no. That was in Top Cut. I missed the Meteor Beam. I don't even remember exactly. Oh no, this was the game. Okay, yeah, I saw Whimsicott, and I was really scared of Whimsicott, so I brought my own Tailwind. So I brought what's it called? I brought Talonflame, but they let off Farigiraf, which sucked because I couldn't click Brave Bird for the Farigiraf because it's Armor Tail. I couldn't click what's it called? I can click Feint. Tailwind was meaningless because they led Rillaboom Farigiraf. And I had Protect as my last move. So there was no reason. So I can't remember exactly what I did. Because that was the game I think I brought Goldingo. I think I brought Goldingo instead. But nonetheless, I had to like bring my Talonflame out because my Talonflame couldn't do anything. I think I can't remember if it was. Oh, I think it was Glamora because I think I remember clicking Mortal Spin, and they swapped into Goldingo themselves, and so that did nothing.
Yeah.
And then I can't completely remember how that turned out, but I just remember I went into Dozo Giri at some point and just won the whole game off of Dozo Giri. Like
Nice.
they didn't really have anything.
Yeah, I
that
mean,
could beat Dozo Giri.
there isn't really much
they didn't really. And they didn't bring Whimsicott, which was the biggest thing. They didn't bring Whimsicott. I was really scared of Whimsicott, and once I realized that they didn't have Whimsicott, though, the game became a lot easier because then I could click Protect, and I could click different moves. I could click Earthquake, and click all the different moves I want to.
Yeah.
So that sucked. Not sucked, but it sucked for him, unfortunately. But I ended up winning that. But yeah, the key to that was like they really needed to bring wins, so now just Encore sucks for me. And then my Top Cup match was so funny. My first Top Cup match. This game was so short.
Oh no.
So game one, I'm not even joking. This game finished in 5 minutes. This whole set finished in 5 minutes. And so they had a sand team, and what they did is, the thing is, like, the only thing that really threatens me on this team is Trick Room into Blood Moon stuff. So I led Goldenyo and Glamora, and they led game one Tyranitar Lycanroc, and so turn one I Meteor Beamed the Tyranitar and made it clicked Make It Rain. So that way he was terrifying on Tyranitar, so I figured if he Terras to get rid of the steel weakness, he dies to Meteor Beam. If not, then he's gonna die to the double up of Meteor Beam, Make It Rain. And so he clicked Rock Slide on Lycanroc, and I don't know what he clicked on Tyranitar, because Tyranitar died to Make It Rain plus Meteor Beam.
Yeah.
And then turn two, he had what was his other Pokemon he brought in the game? It was Blood Moon. I believe it was Blood Moon. He goes into Blood Moon, and he's Sash and Dever
on
Lycanroc, but he's running Endure instead of Protect. And so turn two, I'm not 100% sure why, but he clicks Endure.
Okay.
And that turn I clicked Mortal Spin, which was really funny, because he endures the hit with but Mortal Spin poisons him and then immediately dies.
Goodbye.
And then I did like good, like 50%, I think, to Blood Moon with
Make It Rain.
With what's it called? Yeah, with Make It Rain. And if I remember right, he kills my Goldengo with Earth Power, and then next turn I bring in my Dondozo, which like I swap in the Dondozo for where that guy died. And then I went into Hard Dozo Deary. And also his last Pokemon was Amoonguss. So what I did was I Terra Grassed and then just Wave Crashed to the Blood Moon to finish it off, and that game's just over at that point. And then so game two is where it gets really funny. So that game was fairly quick. Game two, I led the same thing. I led Goldengo and Glamora, and they led what I also thought was probably going to be a half decent lead from them, but they didn't really have they can't really win with it. Was Chandelure Amoonguss, and I figured what they do is, so the Chandelure is Terra Fairy, and so if they want, they can redirect my Glamora. My Glamora is Meteor Beam, but the problem is I'm Terra Grass. So turn one I Terra Grass, Meteor Beam at the Chandelure, and I click Make It Rain, and they double protect. So they just protect their Chandelure and Amoonguss. And turn two, I have Earth Power in my Glamora, so I have now Earth Power into Chandelure and Make It Rain again, and there's no way for the Chandelure to live and click Trick Room. And once the so I clicked that, right, and I think they were hoping the Chandelure was going to be faster than my Goldengo and Glamora, and if that was, they probably just went to they don't have Heat Wave, but they click Flamethrower probably and kill one of them.
Interesting.
But my what's it called? My Glamora is faster, and I click Earth Power into it, it dies, and I click Make It Rain, and Amoonguss dies.
Goodbye.
And they just shut their console off. They literally just entered it in as a loss, and I got a disconnection error, and so they just entered it in as a loss, and yeah.
Honestly, understandable.
I don't blame him. I mean, it was a really horrible matchup. This team just literally has zero answers to him, like Dozo Giri, and
I would be mad too, not gonna lie. Like the issue with Dondozo Tatsugiri is, let's talk about this later, but you really need like one or maybe even two like hard counters, I think.
You need like a hard counter on your team usually. And then so my top 4, I played the same guy I played in the 5th round of Swiss, and game 1 goes about as similarly as it could have in Swiss.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to cover it too much. It was literally just me playing Glamora, Goldango,
Yeah, just
and then going into Dozogiri and winning.
I mean, there isn't much you can do, you know. I mean, we don't have to listen to it like.
Yeah, so so that worked well. But game 2, he finally realized that Whimsicott is really, really bad for me. And he led Whimsicott Arcanine, which is probably his best lead into my team, because I really want to lead Goldango and Goldango and Glamora. And so what I did turn 1 is I went into Dondozo and I Meteor Beamed and into their Arcanine, but their Arcanine protected and their Whimsicott clicked Tailwind, which sucked because I used my Meteor Beam, and then now from here he Terra Grassed, and I can't remember what he did exactly. I think he clicked Rock Slide or something. But I went, I think I went hard into I went hard into Toxicity, so I could order up into the Arcanine. But this is where the game sucks, because this is where Whimsicott sucks, because once I click order up into his Suian Arcanine, I do like 50-60%. But what he does is he clicks Encore into my Dondozo and then swaps into Goldango. And then now Goldango eats the
order up.
The order up like 10 times better.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, since this Whimsicott is a fairy type and I can't hit it with order up, what he would do is he would protect the Goldango, Moonblast, and then he would like Shadow Ball, and then, you know, protect the Goldango and Moonblast, because basically I can't target the Whimsicott because it's going to do nothing.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I lost that game because I literally just didn't have a way like to beat the Goldango with order up. I couldn't kill it before I got eventually killed. And then so game 3 we led the same stuff, but I figured he's going to do the same exact play of Arcanine protect, and then what's it called, Whimsicott to
Tailwind.
Yeah, alright, it's a Tailwind. And so what I did was I left my Goldango in, which was very scary because they can just Tailwind and Flare Blitz.
Yeah, that's a crazy play.
But what I did was I made it rain and Mortal Spinned, and luckily I called it right, and he protected his Suicune and Arcanine, and Whimsicott died turn 1. And after that, they didn't really have a way to win.
Dude, that's a crazy
They really
play.
didn't. Yeah, they didn't have a way to win. I figured. So the thing was, I figured even if they got the turn right and they Flare Blitzed the Goldango, I would get a Mortal Spin off, which is probably gonna win me the game anyways.
Yeah.
Because Whimsicott will die in like a few turns, and so will the Arcanine. And even if they Encore me, they can't Encore me forever because Poison will eventually kill them.
Yeah, exactly.
And I'll last long enough probably to outlive them.
Yeah.
And then also Arcanine's going to take so much damage from recoil into the Goldango. Plus the Mortal Spin is going to do like probably like 40% of their health, and then they're going to die after poison.
Yeah.
So I figured even if they got the turn right, I'm still in not a horrible position. But yeah. Finals, I'm gonna be honest, I was just really tired during finals.
Yeah. I mean,
and they just played really well.
Probably. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just didn't really have a great answer into like Amoonguss. Like, I mean, they had Clear Smog Amoonguss. I don't think there's really much more to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was pretty much what would happen is I would lead Goldango to Glamora.
Yeah.
And first off, they had like really good offense into that with Talonflame, Hydreigon, and they were able to usually pretty much kill both my Pokemon turn 1 if they really wanted to. So I had to like play around pins and needles there, and I just wasn't able to do it super well. And then I would be forced to go into like Dozogiri super early, and then they would just bring in their Amoonguss, clear Smog and then pretty much just win the game between that and Goldango. Because I couldn't kill the Goldango. And so, yeah, that was pretty much it. Like, I just didn't have an answer on the clear Smog Moonius, and I figured I'd run into it at some point, but it was unfortunate that it was in finals, but
Yeah, I mean,
it really does go show, like, how long of a ways just something that small on your team can make the difference. Like,
for sure.
if he doesn't have clear Smog on his team, I'm pretty sure I probably can win this game. Like, I don't know. I feel like I probably have a much better chance of winning this game, but yeah, it was. I mean, they played super well, so
Yeah, I mean, makes
even then,
sense.
it's probably a close set.
Dude, this guy is so good. He like won the first two he joined, and this is his second two, and he also won. Dude, it's actually insane.
Yeah.
You gotta look.
Yeah, no, he was good, man.
Gotta watch his videos, man, because he's gonna explain what he does, and I'm gonna.
Yeah, I saw
I'm
that
gonna
he said
take
he was
notes.
gonna upload his thing, and I was just like, oh dang, I didn't realize he like played. It was also funny. Game 2 we had a disconnect, but I had practically lost the game, so I wasn't gonna make him replay it.
Oh, dude, that's so nice.
Like, yeah, it was so funny. Like, I went into like Dozo Giri, and then like a few turns later we disconnect, and I was like, dude, you can just have the win. Like, my Dondozo had already been clear smogged. Like, there was no way out of it.
Yeah, that's very nice. But honestly, the thing that I'm the most curious about, like Dondozo Tatsugiri, for me this was a huge surprise that 4 people bought Dondozo Tatsugiri, right?
Yeah,
Just like
a
you
lot
said,
of people.
there was like no one who brought this. But then, look at this, like 8 Mercros, 5 Amoonguses. I mean, we talked about it a little bit, right?
I know.
Like,
so many people brought answers to it, despite there literally being no Dozo Giris at all.
Crazy.
Like, prior.
But what do you think about this? Do you think Dondozo Tatsugiri got like a future in Regulation A++? I mean, you got second place. I mean, it doesn't get much better, right?
So, I think what was gonna happen is there's a cycle with Dondozo Tatsugiri, and you always see it happen in regular regulation, where people respect it. They put answers on their team to it. Even if they're not like directly hard counters, they'll put counters on it. Like, commonly in like normal regulation, you'll see people run like Amoongus Qianpao. And while that doesn't look like a super hard counter to it, what it is like they either have to Terra Grass to avoid Spore, but then you eat Ice Crashes, or they don't Terra, and then you get to Spore them and then repeatedly spam Saber Sword into them. So, like, while it's not a hard counter, it's like a pretty good answer into Dozo himself.
Yeah, for sure.
And so you'll see teams like pitch that sort of like core up to like beat it if they have to. But eventually, like, a lot of the counterplay does die to it.
Yeah.
And that's when it's really good. It's also usually really good during early formats, which I mean, this is an early format. RegA++ has been around for a while. But, like, I remember when RegF started, like, Choppa got second at Portland with Dozo Giri because it was early format, and Dozo Giri, he knew how to play it, and it was pretty good. Also, unironically, if you look at the counterplay to Dondozo, like Murkrow, it didn't have a great win percentage. Like,
really?
It went 18 and 24. Like, it had a losing record.
What the fuck? I didn't even realize.
So, yeah, Murkrow had, like, a lot of people using it.
Yeah.
But not a crazy amount of people winning with it. So,
dude, Willamoon as well.
The Murkrows, yeah, and so, like, as long as, like, the Murkrows are losing, it's fine. Just, like, as long as I'm winning my games and end up at, like, higher tables, like, it's okay. But I don't know. Dondozo, will I run it again? No, I'm not gonna run it again. I'll be honest.
Thank you.
I don't think I will. I wanted to run it for one tournament because I thought it would be really, really good for this one. It ended up being good, but only really because I didn't run into many counters to it. But I don't know. I think it's a tricky Pokemon because it's like it can be really, really good. It's just very matchup dependent, and I got very lucky on matchups.
Yeah.
I'm also trying to do a thing where I want to try to play like a different like archetype each week. Was like kind of like an old archetype. Like first week I played like Hyper Offense, and like this week I played Dondozo. Like
Yeah.
next week I'm really juggling between like a few teams, or not next week, but like next tournament. Like I'm juggling because like I really want to run Mouse Ape because Mouse Ape's funny. Like it was a
Dude,
RegA like
it's so
strategy
good.
that people ran.
It's so good.
Um,
People forgot about Mouse Ape. It's still so good.
yeah, I think it'd be really good.
Dude, I
And
should
then
bring
I
it back
also
as
was
well,
like half.
maybe.
I was half considering running like hard trick room stuff, so like
Oh, yeah.
Lilical plus like Hattery and like Psy Spam, because I feel like that could be really good. Um,
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember the last one. There was like one more that I had. Oh, I wanted to run Pal Balance. Like I wanted to run like Palafin, like
Interesting.
that sort of stuff. That's not like super interesting, but it would like I kind of want to run something with like just like Incineroar, Rillaboom, Palafin, like
No, that's not
something
interesting.
super standard.
I think it's interesting that you wanna run it, honestly, because if I was running this, I would probably
Yeah,
fall asleep during my games, not gonna lie.
that's fair. I have fun just playing super standard balance teams sometimes. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
like I get to a point where it's just like I enjoy it at some point. Like I don't know, I usually
I
play
mean,
a
yeah.
bunch of different teams, so it's kind of fun just running like super standard balance at some point, just like checking if I still have the fundamentals to play the game.
Yeah, but that's a nice reality check at some point, you know?
I also at some point I really want to run Baxcalibur. Last week, not last week, like not the one we just played, but the one before that, I lost a top cut to a Baxcalibur. That thing just does so much damage. Like
I
that's what
know,
I'm talking
right?
about with like raw stats. Like that thing's attack stat is absurd. Like I remember he got up like a Swords Dance and like Glaive Rush just killed my entire
GG.
team. Like
GG.
there's just no answer to it. Yeah, like I didn't have an answer to it.
Dude, Excalibur is
But
really underrated in this format. It might be one of
yeah, it
these like
is. It's
really
just like a good
overlooked
Pokemon.
Pokemon. Cause
Yeah,
like it's
it's just
typing
like
as well.
Pokemon with high stats. It's just the Pokemon with like crazy high stats that I'm talking about. Like Archaludon, I ran Archaludon last week, which I didn't talk about much. Like I said, I was going to talk about much, and I probably won't still. But like
Oh, that's
the
fine.
thing with Archaludon is it's just a crazy amount of stats. Like
Yeah,
it's just got so many good stats to it. But
for sure.
yeah, and so that was my 2 runs. I think the format's a lot of fun.
Hell yeah,
It's
dude.
really cool to get to revisit it. Like I said, is like I enjoy like the ability to go back and play archetypes that are no longer like viable. Or
Oh
not, I'm
yeah.
not gonna say like no longer viable, but like no longer great. Like
Yeah.
you know, like I don't know, like I like something like Mouse 8 or something like Palafin Balance. Like you'll never see anybody run Palafin Balance anymore. But like it's really cool because like you can just like play this tournament and like go back and like revisit these old like,
Exactly.
teams that I found to be fun. You know, like
It's so
I kind of miss
nostalgic.
playing them. So
Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Dude, one thing I was thinking about with Dondozo Tatsugiri, I remember in the actual like RegA, like the original like series run, people were running Dondozo Tatsugiri together with Palmod for the Rival Blessing, and that was actually
yeah, no,
so
yeah,
fucking
Chuppa.
insane, dude. Dude, cause I
Yeah,
was.
no. So it was so funny.
Mm,
When I was originally building my team for this week,
mm-hmm,
I actually went back on Top Cut Explorer and looked at like Regulation A teams. Like I went all the way back to like super early regionals from
interesting.
Scarlet and Violet,
Yeah.
and looked at like many of the teams. And yeah, people ran like Pawmot. I remember like specifically Chuppa. Chuppa Cross like loves Dondozo, and he ran. He would run like Dondozo Tatsugiri with like Revival Blessing, and it was just it was stupid. Like I have considered it for my team, but I was just like, I don't know.
Dude, I have so many memories about this, cause in like the original Regulation A, that's like my by far my favorite official format. It's like the only one where I actually like try harded like really hard. And I remember like when the like actual Reg A came to an end, dude, like high ladder was just Dondozo, Tatsugiri, and Palmod like on every third team, dude. And what I did,
It was
I
so
actually
good.
ran like a rain team and then Quillfish with Haze.
That's so real. Like
Dude,
back in
that was
back in those
crazy.
days, you needed a Dozo answer.
I got to like 1960 or something, which is so unreal. Like that might be the source, guys. Regular Quillfish.
Yeah.
No, but
there
honestly, I
there
think.
were like
Yeah, you go first.
I was gonna say it's just like Dozo Giri is it's like super good, but
Mm,
it can be so bad if they have a matchup into it.
exactly.
Like Dozo Giri right now. Like I
Mm,
was talking about it in the chat before the tournament started,
mhm.
and I was talking about how Dozo Giri, in my opinion, is super good in Regulation F or Regulation G right now. Um,
Interesting, yeah.
just because Unaware is a crazy good ability, and
Didn't even think
um,
about this.
yeah, well, no, it's insanely good in Regulation G right now.
Yeah.
Because Unaware allows you to single-handedly just like beat both Calorexes, which is just really, 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 really good.
Whoa.
Um, like you'll Oko Calyrex Shadow with a Wave Crash, and it'll do
Yeah.
like 30% to you with Astro Barrage maybe at most.
Dude, that's so insane, what the fuck?
Calyrex Ice, yeah, Calyrex Ice does absolutely nothing to you with Glacial Lance and high horsepower,
Yeah, of
and
course.
you have Unaware, so it's not even like if it gets a boost or two, it does anything.
Interesting.
Um, but it's just it's really really good as like a defensive backbone to teams right now, in my opinion, in like the normal regulation. And I had been running it a lot in regulation G recently, so that was also kind of why I wanted to run it. It was because I'd been
Yeah.
using it a lot in regulation G, so I was just like, I might as well just use it in regulation A plus plus and just see how it goes.
Exactly.
But yeah. Anyways, what were you gonna say? Sorry.
Yeah, no, what I was gonna say, like, one thing is when I think about the Dondozo Tatsugiri, like, if people really wanted to optimize it, it could go so hard. Because we saw in Regulation A, like the original one, with Power Mod, we just talked about it, right? How you can just
Yeah.
play Dondozo Tatsugiri completely differently without choosing them,
Yeah.
for example, and then just click Revival Blessing, for example, right? Also, Power Mod matches up
Yeah.
really well into Mercury, obviously. And I think, like,
Yeah.
I hate saying this on video because I'm like one of the biggest Dondozo Tatsugiri haters, not even gonna lie. But I hate saying this on video, but I think if you like actually wanna optimize Dondozo Tatsugiri, like for example, guys, if you try hard, the video ends right here. Sorry, guys, peace. Nah, but if you are try hard, bro, just run Substitute, man. Like Substitute
Yeah.
Grass. I
No,
mean, I'm pretty
you can
sure
do
you
really
can
well.
EV to take a clear smoke, right? You can
Yeah.
you get rid of Spore, and you can even run a different Terror type if you want to. It also beats like
Yeah.
Meowscarada, for example. And then like you don't have to bring Dondozo Tatsugiri to every game, right? I mean, it's just two Pokemon on a team. You can like you have so
Yeah.
many options. You don't have to build your entire team around Dondozo Tatsugiri, right? For example,
Yeah. Exactly.
I think if I were to run Dondozo Tatsugiri, and I think that's probably by the point where I'm gonna delete my channel. No, I'm joking, but let me see.
That's the point you retire.
Exactly. Like I would probably run it with Power Mod, right? So you can beat Murkrow. But like, if you
Yeah.
think about it, what else really beats Dondozo Tatsugiri? I mean, what if you just run Chandelure, right? And you just
Yeah.
like turn one like Terra Fire Overheat, like just one shot things left and right? Like Chandelure
Yeah.
Golden Go, for example, just Heat Wave make it rain, bro. And then if they have something like a ground type, if they have something like a water type or whatever, you just go Dozo, and then like you did in a tournament, at the end of the game, you can probably still just clean
Yeah.
up with Chandelure and Golden Go, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
The key is you usually want to leave the Pokemon that aren't Dondozo and Tatsugiri. You usually want to like lead off with something,
yeah.
use them to get like your opponents like kind of weakened or like get up toxic spikes or something,
So
something to
true.
give you an advantage. And then usually you want to go into Toxu Dozo before they die, so that way when Dondozo dies, you can go back into like Golden Go or something.
Yeah,
Even
for
if it's
sure.
at like 20% health, you can find yourself in a position where Golden Go now faces like two Pokemon that it outspeeds, and then like is able to do a lot more damage
Yeah,
in like clean up end games.
dude, I'm so sick of this kind of playstyle, honestly. I remember back in Regulation F, when I did my like top 10 run with like actually it was like a stall team, interestingly enough, which would PP stall Dondozo Tatsugiri, right? But when everyone was
Yeah,
running this team of like Chin Pao, Dragonite, Fluttermane, Chio, Dondozo Tatsugiri,
yeah,
and they had a really good matchup
yeah,
because
yeah.
funnily
Two
enough,
two two.
yeah,
Two
because
two two is busted.
dude, it was so good. Like it ended my like
It's really
I
good.
like hit top 10 and then I just like stopped playing because there was so many of
Yeah.
these. I mean, to be fair, I did play some more games trying to see if I can make it further, but I just got outplayed by these like absolutely stacked guys with like the 222 core, right? I feel like
Yeah,
something
the
like
two two
this,
two core went crazy.
dude, it was insane. Cause like they knew they had a bad matchup, and they just started outplaying me. It was like, oh fuck me, man, I don't wanna do
Yeah.
this. Like,
Yeah,
but then
it's difficult.
I feel like something like
Yeah,
this
it
could
was.
also work in RegA++, right? Because like you have Dondozo
Yeah,
Tatsugiri, right? I mean, obviously you don't have Chin Power Dragon at or Tio Fluttermane, right?
yeah, you Chin
But
Pow Flutter. Yeah, it was so funny because originally I was like, I remember like the first thing I thought of even before Blood Moon was like,
mhm.
oh my gosh, I could run like 222, and then I was like, I can't. Like, I can run Dozo Giri, but like that's it. Like you can't
Yeah. I think we're gonna have to end the
run.
video here before we start cooking.
Yeah, man.
No, I don't want
Yeah,
Tatsu. I
I think
don't.
there is. Like you said though, there's many different ways that you can run Dozo Giri, which I think is its like one little upside.
Yeah, for sure.
Because um, like I don't know, like even I considered on my team, like I ran leftovers. Like I didn't talk about the set I ran much, but it's what I consider like standard Dondozo, which is like
Mhm.
Terra Grass, leftovers, Wave Crash, Order Up, Earthquake, Protect,
Mhm.
and um, originally I had flip flopped between having a Rillaboom where the Serena was, and then
Mhm.
dropping
Mhm.
Earthquake for Terra Grass, Terra Blast.
Interesting.
And
Mhm.
I also was thinking about having Covert Cloak instead of Leftovers, and it
Okay.
was predominantly for killing Haze Palafin because
Ah.
my Dondozo would outspeed Palafin and then Oko it with Terra Grass, Terra Blast.
Mhm.
Even at -1, you would kill it if Grassy Terrain was up, and
Interesting.
that was my original plan. But right before the tournament, I changed it
Yeah.
just because I really wanted Earthquake. Like Earthquake's just a good move to have on it
Yeah, dude, Earthquake just
because it
chunks
hits.
shit. Like.
It's just really good because it's a spread move, and sometimes with Dondozo, like it can be really difficult because you only get one turn, right? Like
Mm.
if I click Wave Crash into a Pokemon and they click Protect, that whole turn was useless.
Mhm.
So having Earthquake's kind of nice because like there's some turns where you just want to apply pressure to both Pokemon,
Mhm.
and so having the spread move was nice. In the end, I think it was the correct decision. I never played Palafin, or I never played Haze Palafin once.
Yeah, dude, that's another
I
thing
played
that's just
Palafin a couple times.
crazy. Like Palafin is
Yeah,
used to be like one of the best Pokemon, right? Like, no,
yeah. I
bro,
think I
for
might
real.
bring it back. I'm not gonna lie. I did have.
Oh.
Oh, I forgot. Okay, I was talking about the teams I might use next week. I do have this one wild team. I'm not
Mhm.
gonna say much about it,
Okay,
but
okay.
I have a team that's just like incredibly stupid. Like it just has a
Mm.
bunch of like really low usage Pokemon on it, and I kind
Mhm.
of wanted to use it just for funsies.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's do really good, but it's
Mhm.
just has some really janky Pokemon on it. Like it's
I
got
mean,
some like there's an Electivire on there. Like there's some like there's some
okay.
weird Pokemon on that team. But
Maybe you
I don't know. I
overcooked.
might use it.
Maybe
I
you
might use it
overcooked.
just for funsies.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean that's what a tournament is about, right? It's having fun. Well,
Exactly. It's just having fun.
I mean, I have an absolute blast in these tours. Like me personally, dude. Honestly,
Exactly.
like I haven't really talked about it, but dude, I just fell off, bro. I gotta talk about the accusations, man. Cause like in the last like tournament tour, we had like a what's it called? What is this called? Like a season or something, right? Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. It's a
Yeah.
series
Like
basically.
yeah,
Series.
like
I
a
don't know.
series, right? And I got like second place
Yeah.
out of like all the regulation A plus plus players, right? Like out of the OG reg A
I
plus
got
plus players.
I
But
got like fifth, and I had played
dude,
two tours. Like,
that's insane. Yeah,
yeah, I had played like two tours, and I was like top 4 or 5. Like,
dude, that's crazy. Yeah, cause I feel like winning one of these
we
like
can say
big
one to one.
tours gives you like so many points, I
Yeah,
think, right? But yeah,
yeah.
dude.
Basically, like
But
winning gives you
mm,
5,
I
and
think
then
so. Yeah, yeah.
second gives you 4.
Yeah, I mean, I had like 17 points, I think, and then the winner had
Yeah,
19. So, man, I'm just so sad my Wi-Fi disconnected in two of the big tours. We actually had like really good teams, but
yeah.
doesn't really matter. Cause honestly, like one thing I really want to talk about for the people that are still listening, right? Like, I think I want to start doing like way better in regulation A plus plus now because it got so much more stacked. Like, you can't just
Oh my
get
gosh,
away
it's stud. like really
Mhm.
popular. It's
I
gotten like
know, right?
super popular recently,
Like you
and
can't. I know it's
I'm just like
crazy.
happy. I'm happy to see that. Like it's cool to have like a format that isn't like the main format,
Yeah.
like actually catching some traction and like getting some play. Also, I didn't mention this,
Mhm.
but the first tournament I played in, like there were some genuinely like good players. Like
Oh yeah,
B Dog Brandon, like he's a really good player.
dude.
Like
He got.
he has his worlds invite.
Yeah,
Like
dude. He got top
like
8 at
he's a
the
good player.
Worlds,
Yeah.
like in senior days.
Him and Sea Dog, like they're both like really good players.
Yeah.
Who else? Who is it? I'm blanking. I think it was Splash. Like Splash also has their world invite was in that. I think.
Really?
Like there are some
Whoa.
really good players that are like like picking up like just playing regulation A plus plus, and I think mostly for them it's like the same thing as me, where it's just like for fun. But
Yeah.
like it's cool to see that people are gonna like kind of take it seriously and just like play a fun tournament and
Hell yeah, dude. Dude, that's so fucking
But
awesome, man. I love RegH plus plus. But yeah, I
yeah,
will try hard more. Some people will try hard less. Let's see how it goes. Maybe I am washed. We will see. Anyways, do you have
yeah.
anything else to say?
No, I think that's it. I think I covered it
Awesome.
all.
Alright, guys.
Yeah.
Remember to bring your Dondozo
Sweet.
Tatsugiri counters, you know? Remember
Yeah,
to
make
look.
sure to bring your clear smog. You
Bring
bring
your
your
clear
haze.
smile. Bring your haze, bro. Don't get washed. Beat the allegations, guys. Haut rein.
Beat the
Ciao.
allegations. Y'all have a good one.